Drop the gun! Show me your hands!
Milwaukee, Wisconsin is the 32nd largest city in America, and like most cities in America, saw a huge spike in homicides after the summer of Floyd in 2020. Homicides nearly doubled in the city and continue to rise through 2022. The city, however, found some relief in 2023 when the numbers dropped below the 2020 reported homicides, but still well above the 2019 numbers. 2020 set a city-high murder record, which was broken in 2021 and broken again in 2022. Milwaukee has historically had low rates of charges filed for homicides, with 2014, 2016, and 2017 being the only years in the past 10 years going over 50% of the murder cases resulting in charges filed. And they were at 57%, 53%, and 61% respectively. Since 2019, charges were filed in just 38% in 2023, 45% in 2022, 34% in 2021, 41% in 2020, and 39% in 2019. That's on average 39% over the past 5 years. So bad guys have a nearly 1 in 3 chance of being charged for murder in Milwaukee. So a much better chance of getting away with it. Mass shootings since 2020 have also increased. From 2014 to 2019, the city experienced 2 or less mass shootings. But since 2020, those numbers tripled, with 7 in 2020, 6 in 2021, 10 in 2022, making them one of the 10 U.S. cities to have double-digit mass shootings that year, and 6 in 2023. So although 2023 shows a decline over 2022 numbers, it's still 3 times as high as the pre-2020 levels. Since 2020, 88 to 90% of all homicides were committed with a gun. 78 to 82% of the victims were male, 75 to 85% of the victims were black, and the most common age range for homicide victims was the 18 to 29 age range. The murder rates in the city were already high pre-2020, but moved into levels that made the city of the worst in America, peaking at 40.5 per 100,000 people in 2022. The assault rates are equally as bad. In 2019, the assault rate in Milwaukee was 930, which would be comparable to Baltimore in 2022. But the 12 to 1,300 assault rate the city has seen in the past 3 years is far worse than most major cities. Worse than New Orleans, which is at 1,069, but not quite as bad as Detroit, which is around 1,600. If you look at this graph of the days of the week the homicides occurred on in Milwaukee, you can see that Sunday and Mondays had the most murders. So if you're visiting the city, it might be safer to visit on a Friday or Saturday. Most categories of crime have seen a decline from 2022 to 2023, and the city is showing a year-over-year decrease of 13% in overall crime, with carjackings, human trafficking, and burglaries being the only crimes showing an increase, with the first 2 showing multi-year increases. Although things are beginning to head in a good direction, the city still sees violent crime at 308% higher than the U.S. average, with many neighborhoods in the northern part of the city experiencing violent crime at or around 1,000 times worse than the national average. So how safe is Milwaukee? Well, in 2023, it was ranked by Numio as the 32nd most dangerous city in the world, becoming one of 11 American cities to make the top 50 list. I did a video on Milwaukee following the release of this list when they were ranked the 40th most dangerous at the beginning of 2023. The mid-year ranking had them rising to the 32nd spot. So Milwaukee in some ways is getting better, but they still have a long ways to go before they can once again call themselves a safe city. Just for a comparison, everyone wants to make Chicago out to be the bad guy in America. But Milwaukee beats Chicago head-to-head in all categories except robberies and theft. But in overall violent crime, Milwaukee is 3 times worse than Chicago. If you live in one of the good areas of Milwaukee, leave the name of the neighborhood in the comments for anyone looking to visit or possibly move there so they know where to go. Also, if you live in one of the bad areas, maybe leave that too so people know where not to go.